Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast is your dedicated platform for amplifying the voices of Black women in various roles, whether you're a teacher, school leader, higher educational professional, or educational consultant.
Join us as we honor the stories of remarkable Black women and share insights from our distinctive journeys in education and life.
Tune in as we explore the topics that resonate with us as women, as members of the Black community, and champions in education. Welcome to Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast, where we amplify the voices of Black women in educational leadership.
We are your hosts, Trelane
and Dr. Mac.
Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day.
It is indeed a happy day. It is a wonderful day. I was trying to figure out, I need to do some research on where this day came from, but I'm glad for it. I'm glad for being able to celebrate and honor my role as a mother and other people's roles as mothers, but also recognizing that it can be a difficult time for some people who may be grieving, or as am I, and it's still important to find the beauty in it, no matter which way. So I do enjoy this day.
I love it. Definitely a special day. You know, we talked about, making time in our last episode, but it was a working day. I'm still working on that.
Well, at least if some part of the day we are celebrating and taking care of us. But, this today is even more special because we have Dr. Latrese D Younger with us, who is the founder of Black Women Education Leaders Incorporated, and the reason why Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast, exists. So what a special Mother's Day episode we have here with her. I want to tell you a little bit about Latrese. So grateful to have trolled her on Twitter. Just a few short years ago, which seems long sometimes. It also seems very short, but during the pandemic. So I'm super duper grateful. But those folks who may not know who you are, we are joined by Dr. Latrese D Younger today. She's a seasoned educator with over 19 years of experience in multiple school districts. She began her career in the classroom as an English language arts teacher and has since served in a range of impactful leadership roles, including instructional leadership, school administration, and district level positions focused on assessment and achievement. She holds a bachelor's degree in English, master's in educational leadership with a focus on technology, which is something that I don't realize that I knew. And she most recently completed her doctorate in education. She founded Black Women Education Leaders Incorporated in 2020 as an organization dedicated to uplifting, promoting, and supporting Black women in educational leadership to create a space for connection, for growth, and collective impact. Dr. Latrese is deeply committed to equity and advocacy, and she's actively engaged in several professional organizations, and she continues to use her voice and her platform to empower others. And at home, she is a wife, a mother, and someone who understands firsthand the beauty and the complexity of trying to balance it all. So we're super excited to have you here today to connect, to hear from your story and your journey. And Jocelyn and I today will also be answering some of these questions, so the audience can hear a little bit about our journeys with motherhood and leadership. So welcome, Dr. Latrese.
Thank you both. Thank you so much for the introduction. It's great to be with you guys.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for the vision, for us to be here to continue these conversations. And so appreciate that extensively.
All right. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get us started. So we're talking about motherhood and leadership today. And so when you think about being a mother and a leader, and then, a Black woman that's navigating both of these spaces. What's been bringing you the most joy lately?
Lately, what's bringing me a lot of joy is seeing a lot of what I sort of hopefully instilled well into my son sort of come to fruition. He is my only child. He is 18. He is graduating from high school. He has selected his college. And he continues to just do his very best, even as he pushes toward the end of his high school career. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the time, the energy, the investment, all the long talks, all the pushes have paid off. And that's been bringing me lots of joy lately.
It's so awesome just to watch the growth, right? Like just to be able to see and remember who that child was way back when, and you just kind of go, wait, this is that kid?
You say several prayers and you're thankful.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I have two. I thought I call them two only children actually because there's 10 years in
Your
between
son's
them.
a little older, yeah.
Yeah, and and as I look at my 12-year-old and the joy that I have in just being able to have different conversations with her now that she's a little bit older and talking about the stuff of the world and how mature in her thinking she's getting, like that is bringing me a lot of joy recently. What about you, Jocelyn?
Motherhood, there's never a dull moment in the motherhood of the McDonald household. Um, but as I always tell others, that we take challenges as opportunities for success. So
That's it.
I am happy. I'm a single parent of two, mother of an adult autistic son who is in college succeeding, and we're getting closer to graduation. So I'm excited about that. And then I have this fiery 10-year-old, soon to be 11 next month, that is, giving me the business. And so we have started a new venture that is now an opportunity that we're extending and really creating some empowerment in her with homeschool. So for a short while anyway. So that's been a new venture, but she loves it for some reason. I'm able to kind of, I don't know if she loves that I'm the educator and I'm kind of managing what she's doing, but yeah, she's enjoying it. And I just put my educator hat on and designed the school that I wanted her to have. So we're tech focused, we're digital citizenship focused. So that's been bringing us joy. I didn't think that I would enjoy it, but it was some work. But we're living it for this last few weeks out of school. Yeah.
Wow, that's true. You never know. You never know where this journey is going to take us, right? So, and it leads us to this question. So, when you look at your journey, Latrese, did you always envision yourself holding all of these roles, motherhood, leadership, building an organization, something of your own? And what has surprised you during that journey?
I've always envisioned being a mother. I knew I wanted to be. My husband and I, when I was proposed to, we had a conversation and I asked him, how many children do you want? And we both said we wanted one child, and we stuck to that. We were adamant. And so I knew motherhood was something that I definitely wanted to do. As far as leadership, I've always wanted to be an educator. I always taught. But I didn't know that I would become an education leader. I just thought I would teach because I was content with my teaching practice. But I was constantly being pushed and told, nope, there's more for you to give. And your reach needs to expand. And so I kind of feel like I've always been sort of pushed into leadership roles because I'm very introverted and I prefer to just kind of play the background. Most people who know me know that about me. I don't like spotlight. I'm not into it. I just want to get the work done in the back. But there are times that I'm learning, just as a faith-filled person, that there are times where you do need to come out into the light and you need to speak up and you need to advocate and be present. And so leadership is something that sort of is an evolutionary role for me right now. But the building something of my own came from me being a leader and feeling isolated. And so I decided I never want anyone else to feel that way. So why don't we have an organization where people can feel a sense of belonging? They can make sure that they're being edified, given the tools and the resources that they need to be quality leaders, because that makes a difference, especially as a lot of Black women are traditionally sent to underperforming schools, lower achieving schools. You need that support system. And so I guess most of my biggest surprises have come from how much I've grown in these roles that I didn't always want to be, quite frank. I wanted to be a mother, but I didn't always want to be a leader. And I most certainly had no idea I would ever create a nonprofit organization. But I'm looking at how much I've grown and sort of embraced what this has become for me, and how much I've been able to help serve others just by being myself.
I love that. And do you think that motherhood has revealed, parts of you that leadership could not?
I'm sure it
In
has,
your role
because
today?
my son tests my patience on the daily.
I'm sure many mothers watching would know nothing about that.
If I can go into his bedroom right now, there are socks on the floor.
Oh, we lost your sound.
Is this better? Are you okay?
Yeah, I
Can you
hear
hear
it.
me, Jocelyn?
Yes.
But I was saying, if I go into his bedroom right now, there are socks on the floor. There is probably not the cleanest bathroom adjacent to his bedroom. Just all the things. And again, I've told you he's 18. Why am I still dealing with these challenges? But I'm learning to be patient, because there is a method to his madness. He has expressed to me, Mom, I have a time by which I clean and I attend to these things. Let me get to Saturday morning. That's my day to do my cleaning and do what I need to do. So I'm learning I can't control everything. And that's something that all leaders have to learn and understand. And I'm also learning to be patient and to allow people to do their best work in the way that they need to. I just have to be patient. And so those are definitely lessons that I take from motherhood into the work that I do every day with teachers and staff.
Yeah. And would you say the opposite, from being in education in general, has kind of shifted in reverse as well, coming back home from being a leader?
I suppose I could say that, because there are things that I know that I take from home to school, such as my empathy, right? I have so much compassion for my husband and for my son. I couldn't do my job as an effective school leader without bringing that into my school as well, because everyone's going through something. People have challenges that they're enduring right now, things that they're experiencing that not all of us would understand, because people aren't at liberty to share, and that's okay. And so I take that mindset of, I need to empathize, I need to be compassionate. The way I feel about my son and about my husband and the work that I do at home as a mom, I take that into my school building, because I care about my staff, I care about my team, and I need to make sure that they're okay and that they're provided for as well. It's that nurturing that comes from being a mother and wife, to be frank, that I kind of transfer into my schools, because I know that that is still needed there.
I love that. We lost Shalane. Oh, okay. Well, I think we lost Shalane for a second there. But yeah, I'll just come in and say that for me as a mom, I think being an educator has kind of helped shape some of my journey as well. And being a single parent, especially when having to deal with so many different personalities and perspectives as educators. And sometimes it's pros and cons to that, because sometimes you're so tired of putting it on at work, you come and let loose, and sometimes I have to apologize because my patience isn't as great as it is in the work environment when you're home, and you have to come back and rethink that. So it's definitely had me rethink my approach. But also, I think being an educator and even a leader in education helps me with shaping how I handle my children now than I did before in my earlier years. And I've been in education over 20 years. So how I look like as a mom now is completely different as how I started with my son when I first got into teaching. And so I think it's molded some understanding and understanding children and patience and how we work and how we help them think through challenges,
Mm-hmm.
which, to be honest, I don't know if this is for you guys, but has been a challenge for me for people who are not in education. They
Yeah.
don't see the gap in their approach, and so it's not understood because
Mm.
a lot of us come from because I told you so homes, and so
Yeah.
now we're now
Little bit of
we're trying to
shifting.
navigate. Yeah, so now we're trying to navigate the why with the I told you so's. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, how about you, Trelane?
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I think that the mother that I am now is, well, actually, sorry, the leader that I am now is a much better mother than because of the leadership.
Mm.
Because as a teacher, I feel like I definitely recognize the difference when I was a teacher and not a parent, the way that I was trying to relate to parents, right?
Mm.
Um, and it was always kind of like the only reference point that I really had was being a child of a of a parent, right? That was all that I really knew. And so when I became a parent, it felt like it was so much easier to relate to families and to be able to say, well, you know what, I get it. There's something that I have dealt with that. I've experienced that. Um, and so I feel like motherhood actually um, supported me in my leadership journey. And then at the same time, I think that as a leader, when you see and you hear different things that go on in schools, you go, "Yep, not gonna do that," or that's a really amazing idea. I think I might have to try that at home with my kids. So I think it becomes much more synergistic when, once you're sort of in it. Um, yeah. So that's what I would say. Um, so um, what can you think of a moment? Because I think I have one. Can you think of a moment in time in your leadership journey when you noticed specifically that something shifted in your work or your perspective changed, and how you showed up as a mom, and did it teach you anything about who you are?
I know maybe about a year and a half ago when I was working at the State Department. My department that for which I work spent a lot of time talking about like implementation and improvement sciences. And that just became my jam. I love the theoretical. I'm all about it. It's fun to learn about. I love to talk about it. And I noticed that I began kind of working through those stages with my son. Um, it actually enhanced my ability to level with him and to respond to him in ways that you actually just described about how your motherhood has sort of shifted based off of your leadership capacity as an educator. I saw myself starting to ask questions, right? He would do something and I would ask him questions, helping him to sort of process internally why he did the things he did or why he was thinking the way in which he was thinking, rather than, like Dr. Mack just said, sort of defaulting to do it because I say so kind of thing, which is a little bit of the millennial curse because that's how a lot of us grew up, but that's not the way a lot of us want to lead as moms. And so I find myself just being more inquisitive, very curious, helping him to be sort of introspective, giving him sort of that push to think rationally rather than to just sort of do that knee jerk reaction. I can see that shift in me as I learned about those ways to better process and help adult learners process. I'm helping him to do that so that he can become a more self-regulated person.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good. What about you, Jocelyn?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely extend on those experiences. It is it's a blessing and a curse sometimes. Like I was just sharing,
Yes.
it's not easy. Like
It's not.
trying to balance your educator hat and how you work with adults because
Mhm.
I hate to say adults are like children, but sometimes teachers can be the worst students when you're running
Yep.
initiatives and trying to implement things. And sometimes, some of the behaviors that they're expecting their students to do, they're giving you that same pushback in different ways, but, analogous in some ways sometimes in your leadership role. But I definitely say it's challenging, but it's a balance that I think has helped me develop to be a better mother in a sense, because at the end of the day, we're serving kids and students. And you think about how you want your child to be received in other classrooms. Now, I will say it gets me in trouble as a parent sometimes to be an educator and a parent, because you walk into rooms with your educator hat, but then yet you still have that parent side and trying to balance. Like I understand what y'all saying over here, but
now add on to that if the child is in the building where you work.
Yeah.
I dealt with that. I was my child's assistant principal twice. So.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of fun.
But it is really tricky. It calls upon so many different skills that you wouldn't even think of. Initially you have to be so careful, and you have to be understanding that other people will have a hard time with you because of that duality, right? And really having to give them grace as much as giving yourself grace for that, and try to just continue to remind folks, like, okay, I am here as her mom. I am here as his mom. Like, saying it out loud, I feel like can help a little bit to, ease whatever tension may be in the room for that, parent conference or whatever the case is. So, but yeah, that's a whole nother another hat, right, that we sometimes have to put on. But yeah,
that's another episode.
Yeah, let me tell you, I got some stories for you too in that episode.
Oh yeah,
being a parent and an educator.
That's so strange that all three of us have actually done that. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
goodness.
we talk about and we hear this word balance, and I hear people sharing it with me probably even more so because I'm always busy doing something. But sometimes I feel like it's unrealistic, or like there's some type of survival to the balance than balancing itself. So what does it look like to kind of integrate peace, wholeness, or, whatever you would like to call it in this season as a mom and leader?
For sure. I don't really ascribe to the whole balancing act either, because I think it's not really possible. There are seasons, right? I believe in that. And I believe in prioritization. And so there have been some instances, particularly this year, because he is a senior, where I have prioritized my son. There are, things I've said no to, things I've refused to be a part of, meetings I've missed, opportunities I've turned down, because my child is a senior. This is my last time to spend with my baby before he goes off to college. And so there's been a season of no's, and that's okay. So while it isn't necessarily a balancing act, it's more of like a prioritization where I've prioritized. I need to make sure my son has his college applications done. I need to make sure we've done these scholarships. We have all his things for cap and gap. That was my focus this year. And I'm okay with that. And I've accepted and sort of owned that.
And Trelane, this is a question for you too, kind of off of that. Do you feel like sometimes I know sometimes we're always telling each other to do exactly what you said. We balance, we prioritize, but then when we actually do it, it comes off to the people we do it to and an offensive, or this weird space where you're trying to do the things that we're all saying that we want to do to take care of ourselves, but it's not relating to the people that we're saying the no's to or we're turning down. Like, how do you guys, I guess, manage that, or like, what does that experience feel like? Because it's a little uncomfortable sometimes, but yet we're trying to make it a norm, but it's uncomfortable.
I'm curious for Trelane's answer. Come on, Lady T.
Oh my goodness. I think that the more that I try to stay on this journey, because I too do not I think that balance is a farce. I feel that everything needs to have the attention that it needs at the
Mhm.
moment that it needs it.
So,
And that means that sometimes things will feel and look out of balance, and out of balance to whom also, right?
mhm.
Because I think oftentimes we will look at balance, and other people are imposing their idea of balance upon our lives, and then
Mhm.
that's not necessarily going to be the same. We can have two single moms, we can have two children with, so many years in between, but that doesn't mean that balance is going to look the same for Jocelyn and myself, because we have different needs as humans, as women, right? um and I think just trying to always remind ourselves, like, you know that I deserve this. I deserve to stop for a few minutes.
Mhm.
I deserve to say no. I deserve to be able to take a personal day for something personal and not apologize for it, right? And pretend like and say, "Oh, but I'll be available by phone." No, actually, because it's a personal day, right? Like, but that has really, really
That
come
is.
over time.
Mhm.
It took a long time to get to that point.
Yep.
And so, and I think the realizing the realizing that it but by not doing those things, by not holding those boundaries, was actually delaying the process of moving towards a more balance, your own definition of what balance looks like. It's like you're moving forward and then, oh, not this little bit. Oh, I did this, but nope, I'm moving back again. And so you have to always be reminding yourself of why, and also giving yourself grace when it doesn't look the way that you wanted or envisioned it to look, because you always can have an opportunity, and be grateful for those days when you have an opportunity to try again.
I knew she would bring the best response, Dr. Because this is what Trelane Clark does best. She's gonna be as raw and real as she possibly can and telling you this is what I do, this is how we live.
And it's hard. Like, I'm literally in a season right now where it has been hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's been hard to do my self-care things, and I'm like, I said to someone earlier this week, I'm 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 off my game. And I can feel it. I know that
Mhm.
I'm off, but I also know why. So I think there's also a difference too, like not knowing what's going on, not being able to name what's going on and know whether or not you can make those shifts and adjustments, I think is really, really important. So it's that continuing self-awareness to be
Mhm.
able to say, like, oh, yes, I know why I'm off, and I know the different things that I can do to try to put myself back on. I know that I can sit down and make myself do some adult coloring for 10 minutes. I know
Mhm.
that I can sit down and, say to my daughter, come on, let's watch Abbott Elementary for, for half of it if I can't do the whole 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, so even just those small things that may seem really small actually do build up and make a huge difference, because you're taking that charge, and you're not allowing someone else's perceptions, ideas, or what you should be doing to dictate it. And it is tricky, it is hard, but it's a moment to moment decision that
Mm.
you have to make. So, but anyway, I don't know if it's my turn. I think it's my turn. So let's go over to Be Well. So you founded BWEL in 2020, and you were looking for. Actually, I don't want to tell your story. What am I doing? That's your job. First of all, give us the synopsis of how and why you started BWEL, and in how that was what was the personal need that you had, and then talk a little bit about the idea of community and support as a Black woman and as a Black mother raising a family.
Sure. And I know I feel like a broken record because I've gone over this origin story so much in the past 6 years, but it never changes how impactful that time for me was. And I'm grateful that I've had an opportunity to help sort of expand that impact to other women across our country and quite frankly, across our world. Um, so just in a nutshell, playing around on what was Twitter. I can't stand that we have to say X, but playing around on Twitter in 2020, created a Twitter page, and then the Twitter page amassed to reach out for a steering committee for an actual nonprofit organization. And the 8 ladies who decided they would say yes came together. We elected 2 officers, you being my first vice president, and then Dr. Latanya Sibley as the first president. And the organization is solely focused on amplification, edification, and elevation of Black women, because Black women continue to be the smallest demographic of education leaders, although we also are we are one of the largest demographics in terms of teaching populations in underperforming schools. And so what needs to happen is a shift there, because we need to have more ladies, women of color, who are leading these schools where students are traditionally underperforming, predominantly Title I schools. They just, according to research and data statistically, Black women have been known to be transformational leaders. And so just trying to expand their outreach and their impact. But as far as community is concerned, I'm all about community and socialization, although I'm an introvert, which is very strange. And the only reason why community means so much to me is because I'm a Christian and it is a part of my faith. So I know, in just being a person who attends church and who is faith-filled, that community is everything in my faith. And it also transfers to the work that I do as a woman of Delta Sigma Theta, as a mother in Jack and Jill, which I'm graduating out because my baby is graduating. But just thinking about the other, female organizations of which I'm a part, it's all about making sure that I get an opportunity to serve alongside other women. I love that. That gives me joy. And I know that there's a huge impact that comes from just working within a community, because as African Americans, we bring that from Africa, which is that collectivist mindset. That is our mentality. We're not individualists. We work as a collective. There's lots of proverbs that talk about working together, and that's with good intention, because we know that when we want to go far, that's how we need to move. And so community is everything to my faith, to our culture, and it is one of the impetuses behind the establishment of BWEL.
Well, yes. Well, we thank you and salute you. Yes. As Trelane was saying, she trolled you online, but I recognize that. I mean, in my joining during that time was because of all the posts and the recognition and amplification of what you just said. Is how I became a member and met Trelane.
I think we spotlighted you, Dr. Mack. I think I didn't ask for permission or anything. I just saw you.
Oh yeah, I was
let's share that.
Well, thank you.
That's how I got most people.
Yeah, we came on in, just reel us on in. But even before then, it was like it's just the work. I don't think that sometimes we're used to being amplified, and just to see you, randomly placed and just considered for even something so small, it's so big, is I think rewarding for a lot of women, because you don't know what their career goals are, what they're going through in the days, but those little small wins are major wins. And I saw that consistently with the organization over and over and over. And then you get into spaces where you start uncovering, because I don't know, I mean, I hadn't always been into like a mentorship or organizations that really support until my later years in education. And I'm talking COVID was the later years of education. me joining all of these organizations. I didn't even know that they even existed for me prior to then. So I didn't even really know, because I joined the ABCs, I joined BWEL, and now I'm active in all these spaces, but I didn't have that before. And so I think, it was just really amazing just to get around like-minded people who kind of share your different but similar experiences as a Black woman in leadership and silent places where you're kind of going through things, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint to everyone what that is, but to be able to come into a circle and when someone says it or names it, they understood exactly where you're coming from or understood, and you feel like you have a voice there. So I think that was a major impact for me. Of course, now being able to be on Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast, and continue that. So thank you.
So grateful to the two of you for this podcast. Y'all know this was a dream, so grateful.
Yeah. And I concur, and I really was. I was searching for an organization with women who look like me. You all know that I'm far up north.
Yes.
And it's, we're here, but we're so far and few between and spread out, and was looking for something that would provide that community, that would provide that support as I got into the leadership ranks. And I mean, everything is right on time, right? Like everything comes when it's supposed to come. And even if it was during a world pandemic, right? We all needed support and didn't even know, how to get it, but yet we were giving it to each other at the same time. So we make, as they say, lemons out of lemonade, lemonade out of lemon. Well, lemonade out of lemons. We do that because that's what we know to do. It is within us, and we want to. Like I think, like you said, it gives you joy. It gives you a sense of peace. It gives you some purpose. It gives you clarity. It gives you all kinds of things to be able to share with another woman. Like, yes, I hear you. I've gone through that. I'm going through that, and you're going to be okay. Like that is so incredibly powerful to be able to do. So it is. We'll never get tired of hearing your origin story. And because, if we do, then that means that we're not doing the work in the organization, So, and at the same time, there are these moments where we have the roles that we hold in schools and organizations, and there's expectations of us. And at times, those expectations are far above where they should be. Sometimes they're just flat out unfair. And they force so many things from us and ask so many things. And within the context of BWEL, I think it's been helpful to be able to discuss those things. And how have you been able to navigate some of those difficult moments when you've had the expectations of yourself as a leader, and also what you actually really want and need to do?
I definitely lean on my faith quite a bit. I shared with a lot of ladies when I decided that I was going to transition from the State Department to go back into school level leadership, that this was going to be a faith walk for me, because I know that post-COVID, school in general has changed, right? There's been a lot of shifts in terms of teacher practices and or teacher quality. We have a lot of teachers who did not go through traditional teacher education prep programs. We have a lot of conditionally licensed teachers or provisionally licensed. We have a lot of career switchers, and the needs are great because while some of them may be pretty strong in content knowledge, they lack pedagogical skills. And so you've got to teach that. And that requires a whole new level of understanding as an education leader. We are not managers at all. We are truly instructional leaders at this time. And I knew that would be a shift from the way things had been, to be quite frank, prior to my beginnings at the State Department. I knew that it was going to take a lot of work, and I knew that it was going to take a lot of reliance on my faith and on my God. And so that is where I go when it feels most heavy. I lean heavily on community, other Black women education leaders who have done this walk before, who have done school turnaround, predominantly in schools that are underperforming. I lean on them. I lean on their wisdom. I lean on their leadership and their expertise because I know I can't do this work alone.
You definitely can't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. And I guess we talk about challenging days. There's days where it's just hard being a leader, being a mom. You just feel overwhelmed or is heavy. What grounds you when you have moments like feeling overwhelmed or challenging experiences that you're going through?
Just remembering purpose. I tend to focus on what is intentional and what matters. One of my former pastors at a church that I used to attend, he would always say, if everything's okay, it's not the end. So if everything's not okay, excuse me, it's not the end. And so I remember that if things are not completely okay, that means that it's not the end quite yet. There's still more to do. There's still more for me to do. There's still further to go. And I just rely on that push. I know that purpose is the only thing that's going to propel me forward. I have to just keep the main thing the main thing. I know why I went into public education. I know that I have a heart and passion for particularly serving underserved students and underserved populations. And that's where my hard work is. And I just have to stay the course because I know what it takes to do it. It's heavy, but it's the purpose that propels me forward.
I would say the same thing, and my purpose is slightly different in just that because of the education that I had as a young person, I had a lot of really great opportunities in the schools that I went to. I had teachers who openly loved what they did and loved us. I went to an
Mhm.
all black elementary school. Like that's in way back when. We're not going to tell the year. Um, but but there was that it was such a special school because
Mm,
um, everything was really about developing us and our identity so that we knew exactly who we were. And
mm,
so when I decided to become a teacher, my hope was to be able to pour that into to other students. But then as I got even a little bit older, and I went to a predominantly white, affluent independent school for high school, I realized that my my purpose as an educator was not only to make sure that kids could see themselves and know their identity, but also for students who were not Black to be able to see what Black
mm,
success could look like,
mm,
to be able to see us in places where they didn't necessarily think we should be, and that we and thriving in those places. And so I've seen that evolve even more over time. And so that me remembering that purpose, remembering that why, like those children need to see me
mhm.
just as
It's
much
true.
as I need to be there, right? And in both types of schools, and I've been in urban schools, I've been in, suburban schools, I've been in small schools and large schools and all of that. And there is definitely something about having had all of those experiences and opportunities to give back. And that to me is what grounds me. Is like, how can I give a little bit of what I was able to get as a student
Mhm.
back to those students and in that community. So that helps to ground me a little bit too.
Well, I'm gonna come from a different angle because grounding,
Yay!
grounding, well, grounding, well, different in the sense that grounding for me is creating a new norm, a new legacy for my family.
Mm,
And of course, being an educator has opened my perspective in so many different ways that, I approach things differently when I'm handling my daughter or my son. Like it took a long time to think differently because my family doesn't always directly go that route. But when you understand relationship value and how you want your children to be once they grow up and become, like you want them to take these lessons on. But mine was creating legacy. So as an educator, I had challenging moments because I was trying to find that next legacy to be that first financially comfortable edupreneur out there while I'm trying to manage, being an impact in education and also trying to start a business in education and thrive. And so what grounded me was to have to come back to the why, because sometimes you're double doing. So I know there are a lot of educators out there that are moms that are working their educational role, whether it's in leadership or whatever capacity, and then also looking to build other opportunities outside of just the education ecosystem directly. Of course, whether it's consulting, coaching, all those things, it takes time and you're tired. And finding a community to help that and finding ways to ground and get around like-minded people who are also kind of understand that struggle of kind of balancing edupreneurship and working in education and transitioning into just being an entrepreneur, just an entrepreneur in general. And so, yeah, grounding for me was just coming back to my why. Like sometimes you get overwhelmed, you get burned out, have that why back on why you're trying to do this and have that letter, those affirmations, and get up and get going again and do it anyway. Do a little plug and do it anyway.
Nice work. Nice job there. Shameless plug. And
yes,
follow Dr. Mack on LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. Find out about her new book coming up. Do it anyway. Okay, carry on.
Anyway. Yes, do it anyway. It's going to be a story of mothers who are doing it anyway, despite our role responsibilities. And so we are doing a collaborative effort on that. I'm looking forward to that coming out later this year and kind of share those stories because those things are real. And as an educator, it continues to be real for a lot of people. So that was my different take on challenges and grounding.
I like it.
Do it anyway.
I like that.
Yes. Love it. All right. Yeah. So before we get ready to finish up, since we're talking about books, Dr. Latrese, I think you might have something related to a book or something, maybe in your world too.
Yes, I launched my first official publication in March of 2026. It's called Black Women in Educational Leadership, and it is an anthology. Black women across the country decided that they wanted to share their stories. A lot of the impetus behind the establishment of the book came from my dissertation work because I wanted to know about the relationship between mentoring and assistant and Black female assistant principal success and whether or not it helped to develop their confidence and their self-esteem. And in fact, turns out it has quite a high effect on those things. And so what I know to be true is that, some of the things we talked about earlier, the sense of community, just the collective sisterhood of being Black women in education leadership, it is what sort of grounds and sustains a lot of us in this work, to be frank. A lot of the women share stories of how they were resilient. They pressed forward regardless of their challenges, regardless of obstacles, regardless of some setbacks. They were able to sort of bounce back and still get back on track to do the thing that they love the most, which is to serve students and staff as education leaders. And so the work is available on Amazon, and we are just excited to be able to share our stories.
Do you happen to have a copy nearby?
I sure do.
Oh, yay. All right. Look in closely, y'all. Black Women in Educational Leadership by visionary author Dr. Latrese D. Younger. Get it on Amazon. Get it. I can't wait for my copy.
Thank you.
As we wrap up, what would be a piece of real, honest, well, we don't know any other way, but I I don't even know why I thought that. Some real advice for women who are building families, leading families, and also leading schools, organizations, leading in the classroom. Let's not forget,
That is
teachers are
correct.
leaders too, okay?
Yes,
And we
yes,
need for teachers to see themselves as
yes.
leaders. Anytime you're in front of somebody else and you're doing something, you lead in, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, where I get to there. But
No,
what would you love for them to carry away with them this Mother's Day?
I am going to read an excerpt from the book.
All right.
Okay.
I'm reading from chapter 11. This chapter was by Dr. Manisha Rosby, and she writes, to lead as a Black woman in education is to balance power and poise, to carry both grit and grace in equal measure. It means showing up each day with the strength to push against systemic barriers while maintaining the composure to inspire, uplift, and transform the spaces you occupy. Leading with grit and grace is not merely a leadership style, it is a survival strategy and a sacred calling that sustains longevity and fuels upward mobility in a profession that has not always welcomed our voices or our presence. That is what I will leave you with.
Mm. Ooh, I might have to blow that one up and put it on the wall or something. That is amazing.
I think she captured it.
She sure did. Wow, that anthology I know is so powerful. So this has been great. This has been such an enriching conversation. I knew that it would be, and I love that it just feels like I'm talking with my girls. You know, so thank you so much. And we're reminded that this leadership journey is not our own. We're not in a silo. We need each other. It's shaped by who we are, who we care for, but also who we support and who supports us, as well as the communities that we are serving. So thank you for your transparency and your wisdom, and how you lead with purpose in everything that you do, holding space for your family as well as your school. Because this is, I don't think you told us, but this is your first full year as a principal,
Yes.
which is so amazing. And at a middle school, by that, like, whew, bless your heart.
It's a special person to do middle school administration.
Oh my goodness. I've been there and I've got the t-shirt. So moving on. So either way, just a reminder to our audience, we don't have to choose between being present at home with our families and having an impact at work. It's not an either or. It really is supposed to be an and we get to define what balance looks like for ourselves and our lives. So that is so super important. So hope that something resonated with you, listeners, and just keep leading and building and parenting and all of the above. Jocelyn, take us out.
Yeah, well, before I take us out, I just want to recognize a few. We had some nice comments behind the scenes. Want to just give some ownership to Miss Gracie here.
Dr. Gracie.
She said, "Great evening, sisters. Motherhood is definitely rewarding and challenging at sometimes." And we also had Alicia. She said she loved this, but one of the things that stood out that she said that I was actually thinking was Ubuntu, which I recently learned about in the last project. It was one of the chapters of a book we just released on I Am Her about we are because we are one. And so thank you so much for that reminder, Alicia. It was definitely something that was going on in my mind. Wanted to mention that. So thank you guys for sharing. So just wanted to honor them for being a part of this experience with us and joining us on Mother's Day. Which is, of course, an amazing experience. We know a lot of families out there are busy and celebrating each other. But we want to thank you all for listening in and tuning in to Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast, where we amplify the voices of Black women in educational leadership. BWEL is a nonprofit organization that is open for membership for you to serve and be served. So if you are a Black woman in educational leadership, we are looking for you. Become a member or support us by visiting blackwomeneducationleaders.com. And be sure to follow us on social media on X, LinkedIn, or Facebook.
Tune in for upcoming episodes on a variety of topics that are sure to be relevant to your personal growth and your professional practice. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another leader. We invite and encourage you to give us feedback or request to join our show by emailing us at bwellpodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media at leaders_black. See you next time. And until then, keep leading, growing, and showing up fully wherever you are. And lead, girl.
You better lead.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Or good evening to some.